Alright, welcome to the May tier list update. Today with me, Ropalme and Rion, as usual. Dark couldn't make it, but we did a pretty solid draft before starting, so we're mostly gonna cover some of the new and upgraded units instead of like doing everything on the spot. So yeah, would you guys like to start with damage dealer?
Sure.
Should be a
Yeah.
quick one. Uh, I'm gonna start real quick. We did put back SS Lusamin in the orange subgroup. Not the biggest deal, but she is a beneficiary from the Tapus, especially Lana, so all good there, nothing much. The next big one is Sol Galileo. That got its great expansion. Pretty much the usual, getting self-sufficiency, a sync nuke. It's pretty efficient, good damage and focus blast. Sunsealer
Especially
Strike.
the Fierce Grand tile is really helped Sogazel's DPS that was quite low before,
The
and
which
it's
one? I'm sorry.
much more workable. Furious
Furious
Brain.
Brain.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. They added one multiplier. So yeah. And you still have the piercing blow aspect on Sunsealer Strike when you need. Yeah, I think it's a very solid upgrade.
Quite fun because Sogaleo now has a really good gauge overall because it's a 3-bar move over the standard 4-bar move. He has dual
True.
MGR, 3 moves on his
Go,
trainer
yeah.
moves.
Yep.
Which means he doesn't need to eat twice as well. Yeah, you can just eat 3 gauges for the price of double the value.
And he
I
also
mean,
gets like a sync freebie if you want. So
Yep. Yeah, honestly, nothing much to say. Like, pretty solid grid. He has a lot of, as a Dark mentioned, since he's not there, he has a lot of very cheap uh, BP tiles as
you
well.
know,
It really helps
yeah, they
building the
just
grid.
cost 2 energy, so
Yeah,
almost free.
yeah, that's pretty efficient.
he also does abuse PR pretty well. Like if you play greedy, I think
If you're,
there
yeah,
is the opportunity to play something like Gloria, Marnie plus Sogaleo with Sogaleo as the primary front line to abuse. Just because he has Bogo now, so you can actually just nuke with Gloria and just use Bogo boosted free move Sun Steel strikes with PR. I think the
I mean, I
aggressive
wouldn't
build's
even
also
use Pogo to be honest, but yeah, for sure. I mean, you can even pour reserve with, some of the support like Jasmine or Finny that can bring sustainability. But yeah, I mean, it's a niche build, but still, if you want to abuse that, that that's somewhat valid. Yeah. Alright, cool. Yeah, we were initially a bit conservative with him, but figured like, why would he be lower than those people, for example? Okay, cool. So he kind of took the spot of Elisa. You guys have no taste, so she dropped a little bit, but that's fine. Caitlyn kept bumping. I don't want to spend too much time with it. Is not because of the update, but more like realignment with around other sync nukers. She's performing very well. Uh,
well to give context on Caitlyn, just to kind of update the viewership. I think Caitlyn overperformed in the sense that she's very unique amongst the other buff core in that she's the only unit that has compression in the sense that she can actually greet things like Zinfogel's recent video where he managed to greet like the Lusamine, and the overall compositional demand is significantly less than what you would expect of a traditional striker of caliber because she gets crit eye, which is probably the biggest buff she can
yep.
plus two, which is
Yeah,
really
it
great buff.
helps
And
compression because before, if you wanted to have her as a tank plus dealing damage, like you still need some buffing. But no, she can anchor by herself. So that
and she can also just skip flux and just take Furious Brain, and you see the bottom left quadrant of like fat HP, like she can just
yeah.
get all of that and just tank with like a very robust like 800 health, 200 plus defenses. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I do have some of those type of grids showcased in my document. Oh yeah, pretty good. I mean, she could potentially keep rising a bit For now, I think it's safe, but a good addition to the psychic roster that didn't really need it, I suppose. Cool. Next up is Ethan Grid Expansion. Pretty much the usual. A new a new sync, self-sufficiency. It didn't get an extra like multiplier type of things, so that's why it won't rise as much. But it got some interesting stuff for kind of its tanking potential, or if you're not tanking, just keeping up with your eruption
Yeah, the main buff he gets
restriction.
is the fact that there is a lot less risk to eruption now because he can afford to take a straight side and not get like eruptions BP cut like significantly. That's initial guard's primary kind of use. And it also kind of frees up Ethan to kind of use a more diverse array of supports because he has Crit Eye now. He used to be a lot more reliant on external support where he couldn't use stuff like Morty as reliably because of his higher demand, but now
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier.
So you wanted him a bit higher. Ropalme was way more conservative. So I think around blue is a fair kind of middle ground. We'll see if he really feels too bad. We can drop him. I I have a hard time seeing him below those type of sync nukers for now until they get an expansion or something. But we'll see. Maybe while
Mark
we're
is up. You might
on,
jump in, but yeah.
yep. When we're on those ranges, we did bump Galarian a little bit again. I don't know. He just gets every zone he wants, every
Hi,
rebirth he
Dark.
wants, everything. So I don't know. Ropalme, do you want to add something to that? You are one of the advocate for it.
Like Gladion is just really solid all around because when people initially look at the Gladion and say, yeah, he's bad, like well, the only terrains he had were sun and rain basically.
Yeah.
I don't think we even had terrains back then. But now Gladion can just slot in anyone he wants. He has some perfect supports like SC Steven and the Red Blacks makes Gladion
Yep.
a monster for Champion Stadium. The new parameters benefited him. So like
And
Gladion
we
is
have a
just
lot of supports that bring a zone now. Like you have Galem, you have Acerola, you have Morty. They can all apply to Gladion on that specific typing when you need it, without getting you a slot that is blocked for it. Yeah.
it's just much easier to build around Gladion now, and his efficiency in terms of performance is much better.
Yep.
Well, I think the main reason Gladion is criticized is primarily because like if you can choose to use Gladion super effectively, like usually he will perform quote unquote less better than other super effective types. Like for
For
instance,
sure.
if you're
Yeah.
using a physical dragon and you have the choice to use a physical dragon, you use something like Zinnia rather than Gladion when he deals more damage. But I think the ability to do that on every stage and the flexibility is
Yeah.
definitely a pro to him. But yeah, that's the
Plus,
main
no,
criticism of
with
Gladion.
I will join Ropalme on that. No, with SC Steven, it's not even always true that you would, is, one of the best SC Steven user, period. So, yeah. And hey,
Dark
Dark,
is here, by
welcome.
the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't notice. Cool that you were able to make it. You didn't miss much. We just covered like the start of DD. Uh,
Got it.
for what it's worth, we are almost done actually. uh, Last upgrade was Mina receiving an EX, so we just bumped her. Honestly, I
Yeah,
don't
Mina
have much
received.
to say.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mina
Mina,
received.
Go
but
ahead,
her
Ropalme.
sync look damage is fine now because she has like a dual, both the innate and the grid packing order, so
Yeah.
she can look pretty well
Yeah,
at
and
least.
like in the past, she had no incentive to nuke because every single attack dropper just outscaled her. Now she does. And the main reason I advocated her to sit with Mane is because yes, her DPS is still not very good. But another buff that Mina got was the enemy 3 buff, as in she can essentially use her TM and get like +6, +2, as in +6 to all stats, +2 crit with crit eye, and that's actually really good
Yeah,
self-sufficiency and
that's true.
a lot of
Although
good
that's only
fairies.
for MM.
You can also
Because
do the
Yeah, MM.
reverse because she is impervious.
Yeah, she has impervious
good
as well,
point, good
yeah.
point.
So depending on who you bring, you can do the other one as well.
Alright.
Yeah, for both, for a lot of parameters. I think another thing that I think is
Well,
a
you
lot
still need
smart
a
was
team that will, the rest of your team still
Yeah,
need to
exactly. It
handle
depends
that
on the team
parameter.
more.
But yeah, that's fair points.
one thing you missed, I think, Spang, is Lodge Gloria was buffed, notably, mostly to accommodate the idea that she's not especially different from BP Sophocles. Like, if you put them side by side, Sophocles primarily has a better off-type performance, while Gloria has a better on-type performance. And the bias was mostly to kind of accommodate that similarity, which is
Yeah,
why she kind of
I
raised
actually,
the
I didn't note it because for me it was more of a, oh, we kind of missed the spot. So, but you're right, pointing it out, we did bumper substantially because she's,
She's
I
a
mean, she's
Sophocles
just
clone, but yeah.
great at what she does. Like you buff up, press the hammer, and boom, it works fine.
Yeah, she's a Sophocles
And
clone, but with more on-type focus, essentially.
for what it's worth, it wasn't the deciding factor, but she's a good user of Acerola, of course. So that's. But yeah,
Right,
no, I think
done.
that was fair. Yes, anything, just overall, like whatever, something specific regarding DD.
Well, you swap Lily and Cynthia. That's just the last thing because
Yeah, that's the
Lily gets
very,
a
very
bunch
last
of.
thing. They were swapped last time, and now they are swapped again. It's just like she's a beneficiaries of the tabus.
Tapus, essentially. Yeah. I mean, a
And
lot of these
especially and
things
Air
are.
Fairy stance gets a lot more love now, even though it's not necessarily her best usage, but that's some flexibility. She doesn't deserve to rise, but you know.
Yeah, most of these things do get significant benefit from the Tapus, but like we didn't really kind of buff anything too significant because of them. I think it's more apparent in hybrid, which we will kind of go
Yeah,
through next.
for the
Mhm.
viewers around, like sometimes we do over kind of not over, but we react a
Higher
lot to
buffs, like with stuff like
new zone and
Corina and
stuff.
Bruno, yeah.
But know that every zone and everything are up in the game, except ice, but who cares about ice? Like,
I
we
take
don't want
offense to
to
that.
overreact to those. Everyone can benefit one way or another. So I think it's fair to stay a bit more, unless it's like exceptional, like we'll come to it. But yeah. Okay, cool. That's it for DD. I don't think we're gonna. I think it's gonna be the live version, honestly, unless I see something last minute. But probably gonna be it. What did I do? Okay, cool. Hybrid. Hybrid. Maybe before covering the units, as a result of new units joining and to align, there was a slight cutoff, as you can see, and it didn't impact too much the cascading down, mostly around the first tiers, actually. Does Dark, you like Lana? Do you want to talk about Lana?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that's really good about Lana is the fact that she basically replaces most comps with she replaces the setter in most comps and basically acts as a secondary DPS. It lets you greed parameters. Do you do it?
Yep.
Because you basically force the offensive parameters in a way. And you can basically grid her for DPS as well as sync, and she acts as an AoE, and she set us fast. Like just as a
I
summary.
didn't realize she has critical sync, not even like soften up. She's like just.
Yeah,
grunts.
exactly. She just crits.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
cool.
red.
She has no external demand at all unless she's playing the Moonblast build, which was a bit neglected, but
Yeah.
I think one of the
Uh,
very common criticisms, I'm sorry to interject, about Lana and Lele in general is the fact that people are very let down by her offensive range because of
Mhm.
very significant problems with her base stats and the PP on B cycle card because it's a sure crit move. For reference, I think the main estimate is that people are saying because she does half of what Steven does DPS wise, she's like, okay, why the hell would you run that when Steven exists? But like, she's a
Yeah,
complement.
exactly.
Yeah, that's why
Like,
She's
we
a
rank her
complement. She's not
hybrid.
like,
a.
We don't rank her pure DD at the end of the day.
like,
So
yeah. Another thing is like when you look at like psychic comps, she's not meant to replace people like Steven or Lusamine. She's mainly meant to replace like Anime or Bianca
Bianca
Bianca,
or
or
Bede,
yeah.
and she basically outranges all of them. So
she's
that's
straight better
like
than
the main
both.
comparison. Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know
Yeah.
why she's more of a tech than a striker, but that's
Oh, she's
Yeah,
more
she's
techy than Lucas, like Ropalme said.
yeah.
yeah. Robin did want to say something before we move on.
just like the beep cycle cut, you do have like some decent range, at least like a bit better than it looks, because Lana does get her physical move up quite okay, so she will hit harder than some calcs show people. But Hermon Blast build, I personally am not a fan, but it's not particularly the reason you bring her anyway. So
It's just an external option because I think another thing that I think is seen very much on HAL right now, which is a precursor to what we'll see with Lele, is her Akala Ocean Breeze passive. It essentially gets double value whenever you bring a Tapu, most especially with Acerola, but also with stuff like Raihan. So she gets double value, she gets stacks extremely quickly. You can complement her with a variety of comps, and she usually gets an average of like, I don't know, 7 to 8 stacks.
Also, yeah,
Just
even though we
with
have a lot
common
of
partners.
special psychic, she does bring physical and special, like for comp diversity.
Yeah.
With her Alolan passive, it's
But it's
Also,
stupid fast, right? Like you get +4
yeah,
just it's just with by being Azura, it's +4 on entry alone.
yeah, but
It's insane.
mhm.
physical and special up are actually just for herself, not the team.
Yeah, it's just for herself.
Yeah, it's for herself. It's like a
yeah, yeah,
double
yeah.
value for herself, but like yeah,
Yeah, but
it's pretty good
since she
still.
has lower stat and I think that must help a lot. Her,
It's a balancing factor, yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know about calcs too much, but I see her as a hybrid, so for me that's fair. To not like.
She has the bonus of being Alola for Lusamine, so
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, even for other psychic units, she has weird vibes, so it's a free 20%
Yep.
for
Yeah.
any
Also,
strike.
like, let's say if you want to use her with Lear, Lear can nuke the middle,
Yeah.
and she will take care of the side very
Mhm.
surely with the. So she. I mean, maybe it's enough talking about her. I think she's great there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
combine some steroids like champion beat with Lana and Lusamine. Like you have beef with Glare doing more than beep cycle cut itself,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
even
I
your
mean,
support is doing quite a lot of damage.
Beauty B move, it's a lot to be fair. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but
Cool.
like you're doing like some blaze kick damage without the defense drops.
Yeah,
It's quite like you're doing some hybrid damage.
yeah. Alright, next up is Ho, and I guess I will be starting. So one thing I wanted to mention about him is while I like him a lot, besides being obviously electric and fairy enabler, people tend to tunnel vision what zone you bring. He's a very good pure special attack enabler. Like you give all those stacks over and over again. You have man games over and over again. And honestly, that's a great third slot for any special attacker. And last thing is I did play with him and be Electro Web. I was expecting it to be kind of meh, and it's actually pretty good. It's like it does hurt a lot, and that's cool. And of course, it's a tech.
Quite
You have okay, cool, blah blah blah. You can sync nuke, bring back the terrain. Of course.
Like, mainly that the 120 BP is quite misleading because it's more like 240 because it doubles on fairy zones.
Exactly. I think that's something. Yeah. I saw some showcase where people forgot to bring their zone, and it was like Electroweb was trash. I was like, bro, you have to bring the zone. It's like double the damage. Yeah. Yeah, he's very hybrid, like pure hybrid playstyle. And Fortune Tools as well is very good tile. Can brain gain for more. Uh, I like it a lot
So
personally.
nice, like,
I think
it's
it's a
not
good range.
quite relevant for this list, but like for anyone who wants to pull, like, he doesn't need any dupes. Like, just one
Yeah,
of
yeah,
five
yeah.
how is really
Yeah, I
great.
got this asked in my showcase video. They were like, "Oh, it does work very well at 1.5." I was like, "Yeah, bro, don't
She
go for
is the
dupes."
least dupe reliant of the tapus, essentially.
Yeah, is dupes. I mean, we're going kind of on a tangent because it doesn't apply to the tier list, but is dupes are either you want to sync nuke with him, which I think is unnecessary because a lot of the time you're gonna have good sync nukers, or
She
you really want the extra utility of mind game and 42s or stuff like that, but you really don't need it.
like for the
It's
most part, it is like unanimously agree that the nuke mode is not as good as the stack electro web mode, and he
yeah.
does lose out to nuke into a lot of the common partners like Red, Wally, because of his low attack stats, such that stacks on electro web is his
So
best
it's a
bet.
new cakewalk enabler. You're not sticking to Deanta now. And a
Yeah,
lot of electric types have cakewalk. So I mean a lot. I don't
Mhm.
know a lot of them, but yeah.
There's a
you want to
few.
say something, Rock? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, very cool unit. I think the range is Hop is still better from like if they were to be cut. I think Hop is very consistent at what he does. I think he's still better than Cyrus, but Cyrus has the OP sleep, so it's always a bit weird. So we just group them. Feels good. Does anyone want to add something? Yes, that's a no. I just wanted to do a quick mention on SS Xenia. Initially we were a bit high, then a bit low, then a bit, and we all felt she kind of overperformed, or at least performed very well, and she solidifies as the end of S plus. Very efficient unit at what she does. Don't have much to add, but just wanted to point out that we solidified the placement. Next up, a lens. I'm sure Ryan would like to start.
Okay, so Lance is, quote unquote, and I don't mean this in a very literal sense. Light Lucas, budget Lucas, in a sense, and they're very similar in the sense that they are steroid givers for dragon types with laser beams and very efficient nukes. But Lance tends to be a lot slower on buffing, but in exchange, he has a TM that is probably one of the best in the game. If you look at it, like it has ramp, it buffs speed of all allied sync pairs, it buffs the accuracy of all allied sync pairs as well. Like it is really good for what it does, and it also gives him +4 up to +6 with ramp up
Yep.
alongside I hit all, which means you can compress a lot of different comps. I think realistically speaking, you wouldn't use Lance over Lucas if you had to pick between one. But I think there are some
For
cases
very
where you can use
specific
both and
comps,
you use
yeah,
them.
you would like for
A very specific comps,
Claire
like
for
for Claire,
instance.
yes.
Yeah.
Claire, Licia, with Licia being the only dragon that can abuse both Lance and Lucas together outside of
Yeah,
Lucas himself.
that's gonna be fun
Yeah,
showcases,
yeah,
which you will be able to
because of the
see
ability.
on this very
Yeah,
channel. Self promo.
yeah, your channel and mine. I intend to pity Lance as well,
Yep,
and
yep.
generally AOE Thunder Wave means that he can spread AOE on a coin flip, albeit, which can be just reset simply. And his range is actually better DPS wise than Lucas's, and he even shares the freebie of Lucas as well. So it's essentially a Lucas clone, not in a literal sense, but very close to what he does, except with more utility but less brute offensive sufficiency. It's why Lucas is in DD because he's just that straightforward of a zone setting offensive machine. Like Lance is a lot slower, but a lot more diverse in what he can do. And the ranking itself might seem controversial because we're putting him above both Annie and the two contemporary psychic setters in Bianca and Anime.
Well, judging from our discussion, it doesn't seem controversial because that's a unit that we barely had to talk about and just said, hey, just below the EVs for now. And
Yeah, because
we
like as
all
we can
seem
see
fine
with
with it. Like,
And
yeah,
we
we're
also
fine with
saw
it.
he could go higher, depending
yeah,
on how he does.
honestly, for me, could even surpass them. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
kind
like
of
by
want
the reference we usually use, like because Lucas is S plus, and he's like just not that much worse than Lucas, so we kind of felt like
Yeah,
it's kind
but
of
you know,
well,
he's still a DD, and what I like about Lance is that he is kind of a successful design in hybrid compressing stuff. Like, you bring the crit to a team, you bring a paralysis to the opponent, you bring a zone, not a zone, but a rebuff.
rebuff, you bring ramp, you bring
Uh,
speed, you bring so much,
it's
yeah.
kind of a lot packed in terms of utility, and then you have hyper beam and a sync nuke. So pretty good design. Honestly, I could probably
Might overperform and we might
even
bump, yeah.
now I could probably already put him above the EVs. So I don't know if you guys want to do it, but you know, I think
We just wait and
it's
see.
possible.
He comes out
Yeah,
in 2 weeks anyway.
Yeah.
that's fair.
That's one
Anything
thing
to
I
add,
want to
Ropal?
ask. Yeah, like you think only Licia can abuse like both Lance and Lucas?
He
Well,
did
for short
say
term,
that, but
yeah.
that's not totally true. Yeah.
Well, it's not
For
really
short
true,
term,
but
like why not? Wouldn't you like use Zygarde or Dragonite? Like,
yeah, short term, yes, but like long term, if you want to do like something that really needs a front line, Licia is the only one that can actually compress that
Yeah,
front
I
line.
guess if you want a reliable tank, you can see it this way. But I agree with Roban that at the end of the day, with that much firepower,
Yeah,
I
you
we,
quite
we yeah,
honestly
we can
think
just
like
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think Licia
honestly,
will fall before she can reach like the output you could do with the striker. But yeah, I can see that.
yeah. I will even play with Champion Iris. You'll see that that's fine.
the
Also,
Iris
even
can
And
with
do it too,
Ryan,
yeah.
I will do some funky weird shit. Don't worry.
Lance, like on some hyper offensive parameters, he's not especially frail, so you could use him as a tank as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can just use damage guard and healing, like injured propulsion, all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he has the tools to play triple L. So we have
Or
Yeah,
two
like
even
he's
reliable
not
triple Ls.
even
like
distance, you know, if you grid a little bit, you take first aid and you can probably take a few hits on and clean the stage before they kill you.
yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
Things like
Yeah, but like
the
if you want a
Kalos
reliable
like
front
that.
line, Lisa is the only one. But like
No,
if you want like affordable team, the rest is fine.
I got what you meant with that, but yeah,
Yeah,
Robam
I
point
don't
was
think
fine.
like there's any stage that Licia will actually like outperform them. But
Oh, it
yeah, I
didn't.
can see
In
what
his
you mean.
defense, it didn't mean she would outperform. Like we all know, Licia won't outperform like
She won't
Zarina.
outperform anyone offensively, but like unless you do like really, really bulky stages where you need to take a hit or something like that. Or that's the only scenario where Lisa would work. If someone actually will die like in 1 or 2 hits on your team,
Yeah.
like yeah, and standard 2.5 she won't. Like
No, it's
3K
just a
plus
different gameplay.
maybe.
Like if you play Zarina, you go full aggro mode. One people might die, but you kill them, whatever. If you go Licia, you just go for 2 cycle clear, pretty normal. But you know that's kind of whatever. Uh, okay, cool. That's a lot on Lance. We seem all pretty hyped, so that's cool.
Well, the rest of hybrid was mostly adjustments based on Tapus. I think one
Yep.
thing I
Let
think
me.
we didn't put on the list was the fact that we kind of dropped Messi Ingo to the bottom of the subgroup.
We didn't really, but okay. If you if you want to talk about it, yeah, we just reversed him in the group because we feel like those are just that much better. But I wouldn't call that a drop. It's just a subgroup weirder. I think no one would ever notice and complain. Like it's a bit sad, unfortunately. Like as we mentioned with Ropalme, like a lot of bug abuser would probably prefer another tech or another striker than Ingo just for the zone. It's good as a unit, but I feel MR and Lucian are just more efficient at what they do and more versatile overall.
Yeah.
Okay, seems yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't even mention it because of it. But I mean that's fair. That's fair. That there was a little change that happened. We maybe we'll go kind of quickly over those because it's pretty self-explanatory. We did raise a little bit Palantine Serena, not too much, but she's probably the best beneficiary of Tapu Koko. Like
Fairy type wise,
yeah,
yes.
very type
Yeah,
wise.
very type wise, yes. And then essentially getting multiple zones is fine. I am a bit apprehensive in the sense that compositionally, yes, she has better comps, but individually, I still think Marnie is better. But yeah, it's the same subgroup.
Yeah,
Just wanted
that's
to
why.
point that out.
Yeah, I mean I did reverse them because Dark did mention he prefers, and I know Ropalme as well, so might as well. I think they're Marnie is better individually, and Serena has that very
Comps
strong
essentially, yeah.
composition with Coco. So that's honestly, you can put any order. I wouldn't care too much. Another very notable beneficiary this time of Acerola is Mallow. Like literally, he brings attack, he brings sun, he brings grass, all in one unit.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Like yeah, that
Alola as well, I guess.
Alola, yeah,
A lot of Alola as well.
yeah.
Like the compression allows Malo to kind of because Malo usually had problems compressing like grassy terrain and sun, and then attack drops everything. Now she just gets everything
Yeah,
in one
because
package. And
She didn't really had problem, but she literally had to
she
do
could have
SS
had it
Morty,
better.
SS Lyra. Like literally,
Yeah, you
that's
have to do that.
the
Yeah.
only comp you could use.
yeah, which meant that her attack dropping was very slow. It had to force her to use drop kick,
Well,
and yeah,
I played this comp a lot, so it depends. For me, there was two game plans that I use with that. Is that either I go for the drop kick, so it's not like too slow like drop kick overwhelm, and then you go for the big sync nuke, but it's more for screenshot. Or you just skip that part and go charging sun and a
yeah,
lighter
power whip
sync nuke,
would be better. Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
honestly the most consistent game plan, just a bit less funny on
Yeah.
the
Yeah, she compresses things a lot better now, but like in the past, she had to kind of pick a poison between builds. Now
yeah,
she just,
no for
like
sure,
everything.
Yeah.
for
Because
sure.
now she basically just gets a free slot to work with, and you can put like an attack buffer there, or an
Yeah,
attack debuffer there.
and put
You
an
can put
assist
like
even
just
and see how much power thingy
yeah, that's why you
comes
can go for screenshot. Just like rebuff and debuff.
Dopamine simulator, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think she needs to drop that much higher, but it was a substantial buff, so figured it would be nice to mention. Last,
Also, like
go
just
ahead.
to add, um, Mallow especially benefits because most of the grass types that use Sun are special attackers,
Mhm.
like Brendan, Gardenia,
I guess you
and
have Sonya,
You have Sonia
yeah,
and Erica, so that's not necessarily true, but
but
yeah.
Erika is already
true. But
a
like I
Sun
guess like
unit.
lower down mainly,
Yeah, going with the bomb, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Plus, in hybrid,
because like
she's like literally.
no one else had compression issues. Like they don't have compression issues
Yeah,
especially.
she's the one that had the most that feeling of shit. I want a
Yeah,
unit that do both at the same time.
she had the most room
Well,
for
her reward
improvement.
was high, but she also had the most demand. Now the compression is a lot easier, so like the demand reward ratio is a lot better. That's why she was buffed more than stuff like say Celine, and because
Yep.
Celine still
Yeah,
has issues kind of compressing things. But you think about it, Celine also does benefit from the SC Steven plus
Yeah.
um
True.
yeah.
SC Steven plus Acerola combo because like you compress restrain, you compress speed, you compress yeah.
That's true. That's
Mhm.
true.
We
lot of
could bump Celine
funny
a bit, but
pulls.
yeah, down the line we just check that out
Yeah, we
later.
could. I said like down the line. I think what might happen is a bit more cutoff because it's starting to get a bit big.
Yeah.
And Celine,
Yeah, that's fair.
Gloria, and Grimsley, even this guy can be below them. Maybe there will be a bit of reshuffle.
Yeah,
Maybe
we might
not at the
reshuffle
start of
that
the
later,
months,
yeah.
but we can check on that later. That I can see that happen. Yeah, that's fair. Cool. Last one on hybrid that we figured we check a little bit was Clement, or Clement. I don't know how you say that in English. Very good beneficiaries of, well, a lot of the tapus, but especially Coco for electroweb, electroweb, sorry, thingy. But also kind of any because he works with a lot of weathers.
Yeah,
So
like
and he's
I think he has Sunny and Rain.
Sunny and
Not
Rain.
best.
He does have
Mina
Sun
is also
One
a
as
as well,
buff
well.
with
but
him,
Yeah.
yeah.
No tapu buff sand.
yeah. Mina, the only problem with Mina is that he won't feel his crit with her. I thought about it yesterday, and maybe you can have another hybrid that brings crit or whatever. Or don't
Or
know.
just
Yeah.
grid sharp entry and just play with 80-50. I think that's fine too,
Maybe. And then
Yeah.
you press the TM for the Saint Nuke, I suppose. If you
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
and yeah,
exactly.
for sure. Why not? But well, let's acknowledge that it's a bit clumsy, right? But I mean, still, he gets more options. He's still a valuable kind of tank niche for LG runs and stuff like that. Pairs well with Coco. Yeah, he was around there, I think. Around
I think it was
mid
about a
C.
stroke too lower. Yeah.
Yeah. So we figured that's good. Cool. We also had a very slight drop for Mori, a subgroup drop because we, I don't know. Because, I mean, it was me advocating for it, but it's just like it's a bit clumsy. Like it's a bit disappointing,
Well, yeah,
to
the
be honest.
fundamental issue with Morty is that he needs to sing to in order to do anything useful. But
Yeah.
the incentive for him to sing in the first place is much like old Mina. The stuff that gives you the sing will have better value from their sing anyway. So running him effectively outside of the ramp, which
Yeah.
is probably his best quality, as in you get head start twice, and it's yeah his main mode of viability, which is his nuke, is handicapped because a lot of nukers that give you attack drops outskill you, and that's just his problem.
Yep. Cool. Anyone
Utility then.
has anything to add on hybrid? I'll take that as a no, and that's cool with me. Right. Utility. Let's start with Acerola. Does someone wants to talk about her a little bit while I pull off the thing? Wait, is it not working?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, she basically compresses a lot of because of sun and grassy terrain. She can compress the demands for most grass attackers. And while she does benefit physical more, you can still use her for the special people like Gardenia and Brendan, for example.
Yep.
And like even outside of sun or grassy terrain, you can use them for either or. So for example, you could use it for just fire types or just grass types in general,
Yeah.
just as an
And
additional setter.
going even a bit further than that, she's one of the best physical sporter, regardless.
Yeah,
like
in general, yeah.
In general. So yeah.
Because like every time she sets a terrain, she gives stacks, and she has Beast Sword stance as well, which is just really strong
Yep.
and just yeah.
Only Kalen can compete with her in terms of physical support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that
Also,
brings
if
me
you
to the point where we
Did you
were
say
kind of
Caitlyn or Caleb?
kill him.
heal him,
We were like, is she joining the two above? Is she blah blah blah? Ropalme and myself are advocating in the context of my list to keep it more this way because of what we mentioned, that unfortunately for her, like she wouldn't have the flexibility of very much supporting special attackers. She also isn't quite the fastest at supporting, even though, you know, she does it fairly well. And my last grasp was no sync acceleration capabilities. I mean, it's very minor, but we're talking about the top two here. So that's why we prefer this way. I know you, Dark, mentioned you would rather.
Yeah, I see her closer to Caleb.
Yeah.
So like I would
You know,
see
it's
them
true that
together.
BD is the clear number one, but I do see Callum closer to BD than to below, but maybe it's slight bias. I
That's
don't know.
fair. I mean, it's very close anyway, so
True.
Yeah.
Like, we're speaking of like the
like
top
all
three.
yeah, the, for
Utility
the
in
top three in
general has
general.
closer like power levels than the other lists in general
Yeah.
because they're more fringe case and more specific than like all
Yeah,
around
it's
ones.
very. I mean, yeah, those are utility units. So as soon as they are insanely good, well, they are insanely good. So you
Mhm.
can't really, you know, it's more of a matter than, oh, in this comp I would prefer playing this one than the other. But that's pretty much it. Yeah. Um, okay, cool. Yeah, I think we kind of talked about her while talking about other units, so we don't really need to spend too much time. Insane physical supporter, good at grassy and sun supporting, all at the same time. Good front line. Not much else to say. Cool. Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini. Before you start, Ryan, I have to say the outfit is really nice.
All the four type of people.
Yeah, I find her very, I don't know, cute or whatever. I don't know how to say that.
I feel hers
Go.
is the best.
Woo?
Those fit because like it's
Yeah,
basically
outfit wise,
cosplaying
yeah.
Hessi's grandpa.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I do think that Minas does fit the best and gives the most, you know, the Alola vibe in general because
Yeah. Let me pull up the.
And I think Acerola looks too much like Summer Marnie.
does she?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
see that.
her outfits are basically the same if you look at them side by side.
Uh. Ah,
wow, it actually
yeah. I
is
see what you mean.
eerily
I see what
similar.
you
My
mean.
God,
I see what you
it
mean.
actually is eerily similar. My God.
And Lana looks too much like you know, those princess type of Hilda and shit like that. Anyway, Mina,
It
cool,
doesn't fit Lana. But yeah, talking
cool.
about
Give it
the
time.
unit.
Yeah, cool Alolan vibe. Just a quick tangent. Go ahead, Ryan. You wanted to talk
Okie
about
dokie.
her.
So, Mina was probably the most difficult topic for us to kind of assess initially. And think even after she's
Is
out, I
she?
think she's out already. Yeah,
I think relative to the other tapus, it's true.
I think
yeah,
we had a harder
What?
time
How
being
is close?
aligned on
yeah.
Yeah.
How was
how.
close? Yes, but like,
We
yeah,
all
Mina definitely was an
agreed
issue.
on Mina being there. But okay, cool.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
but like
Go
we
ahead. Go
didn't
ahead.
know like how well she would perform because like she has the Annabelle problem in the sense that she's extremely polarized defensively and like at first glance you don't see much incentive to use her over something like Chris or Suit Cynthia for instance because they essentially do her rain or defensive sticks better. And for the most part, the incentive to use Mina right now would be when you really, really, really need the defensive capability, like for like 4K or like EBs, where B Protect provides the protection you need. So, for instance, like when I was kind of talking to some of the Japanese YouTubers earlier, they talked about okay, for instance, if you're playing like you need to do posting and you need to survive. Something like Archie Lysander with Mina would work better than with something like Caleb or Chris because they can't let their allies survive sync as reliably. But that's the only scenario of which you would use Mina over those other better supports. And Mina
Well,
is also
there
has
is also your because that's a very big focus on high-end game, big tryharder thing. But overall as well, you will also be very happy to use her in a gauntlet run to sustain a team that is a bit weaker and go for safe clear. Let's not pretend like everyone is doing master mode 10 million K points or whatever. like, but yeah, keep going. Just like
of
don't focus
which
too much
that's fine.
on
Okay. Yeah, tunneling across high-end content aside, I think the criticism related to that is the fact that because the other supports are durable enough to handle normal content anyway, that the superior defense doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
get her too far. I
Yes,
think that's kind of the
a very
criticism.
good. Yeah. And in exchange of that increased survivability, she kind of lose a bit of. I don't know, either she had a bit more crit or a bit some of sync acceleration. I would be like, okay, there is some interest. For example, Cynthia is very pure defense oriented, but you get head start and critical focus. So you have those two things covered on top of being. She does have this kind of clumsiness, and like I was considering like pulling her. I'll get her later down the road, I suppose, but I was trying to figure out what do I want to play with her. Like, so if I think about
Her best
Rain,
comp
or
so
if I
far has
think,
been an Archie comp,
yeah,
from
but
what I've
what
seen.
I mean is, what do I want to do that I wouldn't already do with like, why would I play her instead of SS Chris or Callum? Why would I play her for Ferry instead of Coco or SS Wally? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really find a good. Hey, I'm gonna have good fun with her, and it's gonna show what the kid is capable of doing outside of doing. Hey, I can eat X points and take a few sync in my face. That's
like it's hard to show it just because like she's very defensively oriented. Because outside of the special attack, she basically doesn't do anything offensively.
Well, the special attack itself is still.
It's still good, yes, but like
it's
relative to everyone else,
honestly,
and like higher up especially,
any special
it's a bit
attacker
lacking.
that self-buff their crit or +2, they can appreciate the +6 special attack right away. Unfortunately, a lot of special attackers already have that orientation.
Yeah, already work on it themselves, and I think that's the biggest problem with Fini, because even relative to the other kind of turbo defensive supports like Morty, Annabelle, and Cynthia, they provide some form of offensive utility.
Yeah.
Outside of Smart Start, you don't really see that with Fini as much. In that,
Yeah,
she
if she
really
was a +4 special attack +2 crit, so that'd be kind of
really good
insane.
then, because it's fast. But
she'd be for me. She'd be at least like around the start of S plus or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, that's not what she is. But yeah, Ropalme wanted to interject, I think.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Like, I feel Fini is super solid by herself, but I don't think she slots quite easily on generic things. Like, you don't build a team and say, I always will use Fini here. I think she'll be more of a on-demand unit. Like, oh, this stage has some like really strong moves, so I use the AoE damage guard here, or I need to remove multiple field effects, so I have both rain and fairy zone to remove whatever the stage brings. I think she will be a much more on-demand support than someone who is loot on every time on that team.
Yeah, I agree. She's definitely a very solid unit on Earth, like by herself. It's just a matter of like, since we're in a list where we value a lot versatility and diversity, a top tier support needs to be like, oh, I can be slotted anywhere and I'm gonna help my team. It's not totally the case for her, unless when you really need her. Yeah.
Like offensively, she will lose out to people like Chris and Calum, but she's mainly you mainly only really use her when they can't do it. Like they're not strong enough to support your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see like, oh, this stage I can beat to like arranging with Mina can beat that with SS Chris can't, but like on a generic stage, like Chris would be more efficient.
It's like for those specific niche stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the defense is like you really need your allies to survive, like Archie or Lysander can survive a sync, which is one of the scenarios that most
Mhm.
people justify Mina is like, okay, Chris has heals, Chris has Badef, but
She
her
doesn't have
allies can
guard.
still pop. Yeah, she doesn't have guard, but she
So
has
yeah,
guard, and
Yeah, exactly.
at the end, I think she also like you know, when we talked about Bulu abusers or whatever, she lacks clear abuser like at the time.
Yeah,
Maybe in the future
because
we'll
like
be like, oh, this unit really wants Tapu Fini, you know, but at the time,
the issue
well,
is like
you know what?
the three other Tapus all ramp stacks in some way, but she
Yeah,
just ramps
perhaps
defense.
defenses. Yeah, like
Lily can use her, I suppose,
Yeah.
for Moonblast.
well, he's a
You
bit
can
more future
play.
proof in the sense that
I mean, yeah, whatever.
right now, because of the way a lot of fairies work, you would much prefer Wally or Hal plus
Yeah,
a
that's
dedicated
the thing.
support.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if you had like more than one NY Lycia, okay,
Yeah, but
then
then
you would have a better Fini.
if suddenly you want a tank that does the zone as well, well, then you're gonna go to Fini. I think she
Yeah.
has a bit more spots for Fairy than for Rain because Rain is
Mhm.
already too
Rain
well covered.
offensively is like too filled
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the way frogs work. And I think speaking of rain, I think one of the probably the most commonly used things is the fact that she can greet like the -3, like ally -3, and just reset it with people attack. She's very reliable at greeting parameters in general. So she can either take more, she can either just like take less kind of greedy points like strength or attack and just take that parameter instead and just make
yeah,
stages a lot easier.
yeah. Again, it's like yeah for challenging yourself. Like she's gonna be a solid front line and help your
Hmm.
team survive. Cool. That's good.
I think
Good.
she herself is very immoral. I think another thing that I think I've noticed is that draining kids, even with sharp entry, is actually very reliable point flick heal. So
Yeah,
she herself, despite lacking AoE healing, is quite hard to kill.
yeah,
Rather
for
than
sure.
supports where okay,
Hmm.
Oh,
I
you're
have
not gonna kill that bitch that easy. Like
yeah.
it's pretty. That's for sure. Okay, so that's our initial placement around the Ingo to red subgroup. Like,
She might
cool.
change, but never
She
below
might change
Annabelle.
a bit.
Yeah.
We don't really see more to say
Yeah,
from
she
her.
didn't
It's good.
underperform poorly, thank God. Yeah. She didn't underperform poorly at least.
Yeah, I don't think you can really underperform with that kit. It's just like in as time
The abusers
progress,
aren't here yet. That's all it
yeah,
is.
exactly, as time progress you will see yourself like not really using her outside specific scenarios, but she can't really underperform. Like the kit is pretty self-explanatory. Like
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay, we have a couple more points to talk about. First one I wanted to mention quickly, we did Broad SC Steven into utility, which we initially had a conversation about and felt like it was possible, but there is still sync nuke, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's like very strictly a utility unit with a sync nuke instead of in a VX
Actually
support.
syncing up with him.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, but
Like, yeah, like you can, but
Yeah,
like
you don't
in
even.
practice you
Yeah.
don't really nuke with
And
him.
even if
usually you nuke
even
with the guy he's supporting, that's the thing.
yeah, and
Also,
even if you do,
like
it's probably for the incentives of getting
Adrenaline and stuff, yeah.
adrenaline, safety theater, or
On
whatever stuff like
Redemption,
that.
yeah, yeah.
also it's not like he's the only utility pair that does offensive pressure. Like we have blue and bead
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
The Blue
Yep.
Beam, we have Dawn, we have
But
Phoebe, we
also
have a lot of
the
them,
main
yeah.
comparison was
Yeah.
like because there is offensive pressure in moves and offensive pressure in sync, and a good comparison is like how we place down here. Down as a sync nuke, if you want. So
To be fair, I don't see it in moves because it's mainly tackle, but like sync wise, yes.
yeah, that's why I said like he doesn't have anything in moves. Like he doesn't have
Yeah,
like
yeah,
blue does more damage all around than
yeah,
than him, right?
yeah, exactly.
But even then, like it's the playstyle is just utility, which is what I expected at the start. But we went like it's gonna be tricky to order, so we went with hybrid. But yeah, in terms of placement, we kind of went like it's always hard to rank a non-EX support within a bunch of EX support. But basically is another option of enabling physical attacker in a less traditional way. Like instead of bringing the buff and X supporting, is like I'm gonna debuff, I'm gonna bring your physical
Debuffs
move
on
up
the
next,
damage, essentially.
super effective if you're on that, etc. So I think it's a solid placement to range around Hilbert and Sonya, things like that. Yeah,
I thought Hubert would be in yellow actually, because we wanted to associate him with Jasmine, didn't we? But yeah.
I could, but if Hilbert goes yellow, you lose Shona. Up to you.
It can be done, but I'm just trying to kind of entertain the thought. That's all.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Hilbert is still Hilbert. Well, I mean,
Yeah, like just want to comment, like SC Steven only real problem is that like he has that busy
Much
problem. Like
too.
he has two
Yeah.
extremely good moves that he can't use at the same time, which is Billier and his trainer move.
Yeah.
Which makes him
which, let's be
comparatively
honest,
slower,
in
yeah.
most normal difficulty content, honestly, it's already
Yeah.
super overkill, one or the other. You know what I mean? Like, honestly,
It's full screenshot. That's just
yeah,
what it
you
is.
you do 2 TMs on a physical
Ropalme
attacker.
simulator.
Trust me, he's just gonna explode the mid with a normal parameter, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Dopamine
but
simulator, essentially.
yeah, but I mean, remember we did mention him a couple times when we were talking about supporting some units, so he's relevant. He has that niche that others here can do. Like you have all the Hilbert clone out there. Sometimes maybe you want things like SC Steven instead. So cool. Also, he's
Like
very
instead of being a support that gives the stats, he's more what I call a steroid machine. He just makes
yeah,
your striker
Yeah.
hits harder.
exactly.
Steven does have the issue of like you don't compress him in the sense that okay, I can bring Steven and then like two strikes. It's more like I bring a support, I bring Steven to further buff you with that support,
Yeah.
and then the primary abuser.
Well, it goes
Which is
back to
not bad,
the
but yeah.
old solo DPS mode.
Yeah.
That's cool sometimes, you know. If your solo DPS one shot the mid, why do you need two DPS? You know, why not? That's fair.
Either that or you can go like hyper offensive, like you
Yeah.
do, like we
Yeah.
mentioned with Lancy with the Lucas and the Dragon
Yeah, you
units.
can do that too, yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
just greed if you want to.
Yeah,
Definitely.
you have some hybrid units that can be considered offensive pressure and would take the aggro fine enough to go
Yeah, like
hyper offensive.
the most clear example is like Thunderbolt Red. You can
Yeah.
quite easy put to Steven within.
Oh, I also did with oh no, this one I was using the support, but you can also do with I mean I know it's Mimi for you guys, but with Cynthia, you just go Shadow
Can
Force.
dodge, yeah.
Yeah, you debuff the defense and then you get like the plus 10
Yeah,
or plus 8 physical move up with Shadow Force.
and she can grab aggro for a few turns, like she evade the one strong move and you're good.
Yeah, I can
But
see that.
anyways, yeah. Cool. Couple other points in. No, let's start with Agatha. It was a pretty clear and straightforward ranking. I think only Rion is a bit higher than.
Yeah,
Other
essentially,
people.
so the difference between what we discussed was I was higher on Agatha because essentially this Kiawe's TM like thrice in a single turn alongside AoE rather than single target debuffs. Like that alone made me think that okay, she's at least better than Kiawe, but
Yeah, but
there seems to be criticism.
Kiawe Shadowbone is. I mean, not Shadowbone itself, but you know, with all the passives, having speed, having unfortunate use, having healing.
Yeah, speed and pots mostly, yeah. Well, Agatha's advantages primarily lie in the AoE as well, AoE faster speed as well as more on-demand axle. Like quick tempo is an issue for Kiawe like rather than Catalyst, but yeah, they're about the same in what they do
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
most
we
part.
we went there about the same. You wanted her above, Ropalme and Dark said below. There we go. Pretty simple. She's good though. Interesting. Like Lear, always good complement move. She can wrap. She can poison.
I
So
think
she has
she in
some
particular helps a lot
abilities.
about the poison stuff that we've been getting recently because we do like a reliable poison support with good
That's
stuff.
true.
Now we
Actually,
do have
she's
that actually.
yeah. She
Like
can
she has
Yeah.
a
be a.
guaranteed poison, a fast TM to set up, like
Well, I
especially
mean, I
for
would
Emma. I think
rather play Ball Guy to be honest, but yeah, that's fair.
I think Emma in particular loves her because like Emma
She
gets
does.
the remaining round of Emma in particular loves her.
Yeah, but why not use Ball Guy?
Ball guy, isn't ball guy poison on a coin flip? It's not as
Yeah, I
reliable,
mean,
but
a
yeah, you
coin
can use
flip
poison.
is plenty enough,
Coin flip's
in
the
my
coin flip.
opinion. I consider coin flip being largely enough, personally. But I mean, whatever. She's lower than him
The
anyway.
toxic
I
trap.
was just
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
moving
Fantastic.
around like that is quite better than them. Let's be honest. But yeah, she does feel that slot kind of. I mean, even Iris herself, so she doesn't
Mhm.
have to poison herself. She complements the buff. Yeah, sure,
Mhm.
good poison support. No
Yeah.
problem about that. We did some reshuffle a bit around there, uh, and actually I did look back, not as much as Rion would be like, oh, we did some major stuff. No, not much as we did, we thought. Just bumping Morty, most importantly, because he was around there, and Elisa switched with Phoebe. Yeah, and honestly, that's the only thing that happened at the end of the day.
Oh, Skila with Nita as well.
Yeah. But like, I mean, they're so close.
Yeah.
For me, they were like stacked. But in terms of subgroup, that's the only thing that happened. Mostly
Yeah.
Mori
That
aligning
was a
with
wild
Kyla.
conversation, but yeah.
Yeah, there was wide conversation, but at the end of the day, not that big of a impact.
Mhm.
Yeah, Dark did mention Mori. This day plays similarly to Skyla, even though she brings speed,
Yeah, like
but
she brings speed, but basically both, like when it comes to Skyla especially, her other builds have sort of gone out of favor, and Stagger's basically been the more
yeah,
dominant one.
Yeah,
So in a way,
staggering plus transfer essentially,
yeah,
but like Sky also
yeah.
has
So
the progressively common problem. Sorry for interjecting,
no,
the
it's fine.
common
It's fine.
problems with death. Because especially in LG, I think she struggles a lot to take specially defensive hits on like Morty. And Morty also has synchro healing for better maintenance. So
Mhm.
yeah. If one
I
gauge with
think you
Sky, if one
just
more
honestly
consistent
these
flinch and durability,
days
use Morty.
you use
Like they're
both
very similar
the same
for the
way
same.
for LG run,
Exactly.
and that's all. So yeah,
Like,
that's fair.
and there's like slight differences
Other
between them, but like overall it just balances out. Like Skyla does get better gauge, but she has the stagger flinch, but Morty has the higher chance, and as mentioned before, synchro and the SPDF buffs. So like,
Yep.
Yep.
yeah.
So nothing too much. There is a new girl around there.
Lodge Acerola. I think Lodge Acerola might perform better next game because she has multiple ways of
Probably.
which to proc her passives.
Yeah.
Because Confused
Yeah.
by Shy can proc it, she can dodge it. She generally
She's
buffs attack
actually
speed and crit quite fast.
a relatively successful build around evading move because she has evasion, she has the confusion, and she has the
Yeah.
move to guarantee it. So
She's
it's
she,
interesting.
she's basically just like a secondary attempt at like Lodge Morty, like a slightly better one.
Yeah.
Well, it's underneath at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, but
Like
because he he did he has a bit more consistency packed on his base
But
instead
like
of
in the
yeah.
dodging, yeah,
You're cutting off Ryan.
he is cutting off. Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to talk about your
we
lolly. Sorry
we
about
could
that.
put them together actually if she ends up performing better.
If
Yeah.
yeah, for now
So
I
he was cutting off, right? Yeah.
feel it's fair that she's above those two by virtue of having EX port. She's kind of
Mhm.
below those by virtue of at the end of the day
Also,
I'm
there's like
Phantom Force, yeah.
there's some
That's
slight
kind of an issue.
things as well. Like even for like if you're talking like sync heal, Morty has synchro healing while she just has recoup.
Yeah. Yeah,
So she has
So there
she's a
are.
bit
cancellations instead
more
of that. So she's
selfish
better
in that
short than
sense.
long.
Yeah,
She's a bit more selfish. Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
why.
she does have catalyst though. That is cool. But, I mean, just
Hmm.
a quick mention. But what is that?
But yeah, overall they are pretty similar.
Yeah, but I think, let me remember correctly. I think Morty. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's what I remember. I didn't remember if the spear attack was on the item or
The
on the
TM or not.
TM.
Ah,
But
okay.
you have the speed and directly on the TM, even though it's
Hmm.
slower. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. The comparison
Morty's more consistent.
is not
Yeah.
too bad. It just feels a bit more, yeah, consistent at first,
Consistent. Yeah.
and
Hmm.
then if you want some evasion.
Yeah.
But she does seem relatively successful at the evasion thing. I mean,
Yeah, like
not too bad.
Morty is
It's not as
basically
good
a
as
side of
on-demand
it.
speed, but yeah.
Yeah, like Morty is basically just like he's more buffing with a side of evasion, while Astral just
Yeah,
goes like full evasion. And evasion
and
is evasion.
a
So
bit more selfish, obviously.
yeah.
So yeah. Okay. But yeah, fair range to start with. We will see how it goes. Nothing changed afterward.
Yep.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah. Well, there was the cascading of Uber, but we didn't mention it because it was just natural. But yeah,
Yeah.
S is starting to. Oh, by the way, you guys didn't even realize, but I did add an S minus tier because of that. So
Yeah, I see
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Forgot that.
or
Okay.
or B minus or whatever. But I did add a tier. Is all I'm saying. Yeah, this one is a little buzzy, but I think for now it works. We will see in the future.
Mm.
Cool. Ropalme, do you have anything to add? You didn't say too much on
I
the
think so.
supports.
Not particularly interested on Seralski.
Guy is like, oh shit, another clunky support. I don't care. That's fine. That's fine. No worries. Okay, cool. Anyone wants to tackle something specifically?
Well, we did bump SC Shauna a bit, despite her initial
It
range. I
was
think that's the only thing that.
already included in the last batch. She didn't move
Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah,
this time.
okay.
Uh, but for those who missed it, yes, she's kind of on par with
She used to be
CC support.
underneath Jasmine, but like after that she bumped above, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but it was like it's literally in the dock as at the time, for example, if you want.
Okay,
And
okay.
I never got much question from that actually, so I was surprised. She was underneath Sonia actually.
Yeah, we actually did bump her above.
We did a reswitcheroo a little bit. Right, right, right. Yeah, very consistent stat debuffing while buffing your team in the process, being bulky.
Stat drops and
Pretty
then
SS, for me,
reflect,
she's
yeah.
kind of SS blue like, so I like pairing them, even
Yeah,
though they're
very
not healing.
durable, very all-rounding, very kind of
Yeah,
blanket, yeah, essentially.
yeah, we were talking about like supports that you can slot when you don't really know. Well, those are the type of support like I don't really know what to take as my support. Let's put one of those that will do mostly fine for most people, you know. Cool. Well, well. Hey, 1 hour and 8 minutes, so we are on point with what I expected.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for those who stayed to the end, and we'll be seeing you next time with more stuff on Pokemon Masters. Have a good one.